the thing is we can say, okay, I'm going to be safe. I'm not going to lose any money. And that's true, but then I'm not going to earn a lot. And so, in order to keep up with inflation and keep up with the needs that I'm going to need during retirement and to cover my long-term care costs, my medical costs, taxes, which are increasing, seniors get hit with taxes just like working people, just like younger people. It's just as bad, Peter. And so we have to be able to take care of that. I saw this morning at homeowners insurance in Florida has gone up 47% in 2 years.
Welcome into Financial Focus, brought to you by the best of the best in financial services, as named by the readers of the Lake City Reporter for a decade straight and running 10 years, perennial winners of that best of the best in financial services, and more than 32 years now serving proactive savers and investors in and around North Central Florida. John Kuykendall here with us as always from the team at GulfCoast Financial Services. And John, going to be talking about one of the quintessential questions of retirement planning and confidence is, how do I live after I have retired? Where does the money come from? And one of the big questions that you help your clients answer, of course.
Well, it's a big question, because people, when they retire, they forget that they don't have a paycheck. And so one of their big questions is, how am I going to live now? How much money can I take out? Where do I get it? And how's it going to last me for my retirement income? And so it's a transition, Peter. When we're working, we're getting paid every week. We don't really think too much about where the money's coming from. We have an employer. And in retirement, you're basically your own employee. And so you're going to be paying yourself. And let's hope you've done a good job of getting it ready. And we can help you with that financially focused income plan.
Now, the question of where are the dollars actually generated and how do I get them to my bank account? That's a relatively simple step in the process. You just set up contributions and deposits and the money shows up kind of like a paycheck. But John, how long your lump sum can generate that income and how much you should be withdrawing? Not so simple a question.
Well, it's not, Peter. It's kind of like the Halloween candy analogy we use. Am I going to give all my candy out to the first 4 people that come to my door? Am I going to spend all my money in the first year? Or am I going to, at the end, have way too much left over and not really have enjoyed myself like I should have, and worried the whole time about how much I was going to have left over, if any. And so, one of the things that we talk about is that financially focused income plan, because we have to come up with an income analysis. We have to know what your income gap is. And so what we do when we put that together, Peter, is we're looking at how much am I going to need to make my bills, to pay the electricity, to pay the rent, mortgage payment, car payment, whatever. And then we look at how much do I have that I know I've got coming in every month. And that's my guaranteed amount. And so we look at that, subtract the 2. And if I've got a deficit, then we have to figure out a way to fund that with the funds that you saved up during your working years.
Well, John, when it comes to designing that plan for retirement, it sounds like filling that income gap is a little bit of a reverse engineering process from what we were doing during our working career, right? The bills came in and we figured out, or the paycheck came in rather, and then we figured out how to pay the bills. It sounds like what you're saying is that we need to figure out what our living expenses are, and then we'll figure out how much we need to withdraw and take from our retirement savings and nest egg. And I bet it's like that old carpenter adage, we want to measure twice and cut once.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to have any gaps, Peter. I mean, if we've got gaps or we've got seams in our level, then what we're going to have is a leaky foundation. And we really need to have a strong foundation for retirement. And so the way that we can do that is to make sure that we have some kind of predictable, sustainable income coming in to cover our basic needs. And then we have assets that are growing, which will take care of inflation, healthcare costs, the rising costs that are our unknowns. And so we need to make sure, it's like money does a lot of different things, but our money in retirement has to be safe, but it also has to grow. And that's really hard to do. And so we have to be careful. We're not making any more money. We have to make it by the way that we've allocated our investments and our risk tolerance.
Well, it's like we have built that solid foundation, but sands are going to shift, and over time there are going to continue to be forces that could crack that foundation, right? The inflation, the taxes, healthcare expenses, longevity, all of these things are going to continue to need to be factored in, which is why you've over the course of the last year or two, said that right now is one of the best times that you have seen to lay that foundation, to look at these interest rates and these payout rates, because less money is generating more income and leaving available to us more discretionary assets to fill those cracks later.
Well, that's right. Interest rates are up. And so we're able to get a better payout. We're making more on our fixed investments. We're making more on our money markets, and we're getting paid more by the companies because they're making more. So it's a great way right now to be able to come up with a good income plan that's going to take care of us and fill in those gaps. Retirement's not easy. There are a lot of things that are going to hit us. Legislation. It is unbelievable the changes that we're going to see in the next 5 years in Medicare, Social Security, the things that we depend on as retirees in retirement.
John, there are additional risks that we need to factor in when we leave our income generating dollars in the market. Can you talk to us about what we have seen and what we have been taught to do over maybe the last 30 to 40 years or more about just having an investment portfolio and attempting to pull income from those market-based investments?
Yeah, well, Peter, that was the old deal is that we would put our money into the market and then we would be able to pull out 4% a year and we would have enough money to last us during our retirement. Those things don't work anymore. The sequence of return risk, the things that we've learned in the last 10 years with financial planning and with just our computers and our knowledge tells us that those things don't work. And so what we have to do is we can't afford to take a huge loss in retirement, because we don't have time to make that money back up. But at the same time, we can't afford to put our money in the mattress and not have it earn anything. It's got to earn more than inflation. And inflation is 4, 5, 6%. So we need to have our money working for us, but we've got to be careful in how we do that. And that's why we need to figure out what that income gap is. And then when we figure out the income gap, we know how much money how we have to rearrange assets so that we can fill that void with predictable, sustainable income that's going to come in every month. Since we're not getting a paycheck, a lot of us don't have pensions now. We need to make sure that every month, first of the month, in that mailbox or in that checking account, there's enough money to cover my bills. And of course, Peter, in retirement, we have two things. We have our needs and then we have our wants. And so we can't confuse the two. My needs are what I've got to have to pay my bills, to make to live day to day. My wants are the things that I want to do in retirement. When I want to go to the beach, when I want to go on vacation, when I want to go to Alaska and see the whales, those things we need to factor in, but we have to factor them in carefully and make sure that, in a down market, we don't spend as much, but in an up market, we make up for it.
Yeah, it's kind of, you mentioned earlier that our money is our employees, or our dollars are our employees. When I think of a company, right, there are certain jobs assigned to specific people. Some are laborers, some are bookkeepers, some are administrative, some are front of house, some are back of house. And it's not like each employee can just jump in and do the job of the other. And it sounds like what you're saying is that it is more effective financially if we assign those dollars, which are which are our employees' specific jobs as well, because money can only do so many things, right? Growth, safety, liquidity, income. And if we assign it a specific task, it does that more effectively.
Right, that's right. Because the thing is we can say, okay, I'm going to be safe. I'm not going to lose any money. And that's true, but then I'm not going to earn a lot. And so, in order to keep up with inflation and keep up with the needs that I'm going to need during retirement and to cover my long-term care costs, my medical costs, taxes, which are increasing, seniors get hit with taxes just like working people, just like younger people. It's just as bad, Peter. And so we have to be able to take care of that. I saw this morning at homeowners insurance in Florida has gone up 47% in 2 years.
Wow. Yeah.
47%.
And that's why we've got to account for that growing gap,
Yeah.
the cracks in the foundation that we are going to have to fill over time, and we want to leave ourselves some assets for growth over on the side. And John, you wanted to address as well that there are some people that may not need an income from their retirement accounts, but guess what? Even those folks have to take an income from their retirement accounts. And again, right now, this moment in time with our interest rates and payout rates may be a good time to look at managing those RMDs in an effective and efficient way.
There are some things that we can plan to do based upon where your situation is and what you're trying to do, and plan some of those distributions. But the government, Peter, is going to get that money. They're going to get it. They want the taxes. They need the taxes. And so, when you're sitting there and you don't need money, and all of a sudden you find out you got an extra $50,000 coming your way because you had all this deferred, and all of a sudden now we're getting RMDs based on our age, and every year that RMD is going up, we're going to pay some taxes.
Well, we have been talking about the need to plan that out efficiently and effectively and address that income gap. And ladies and gentlemen, the key word there is plan. You need that financially focused written retirement income plan. Make sure that you have addressed that income gap and how to fill the cracks in the foundations with as much discretionary assets left over as possible. That is efficient and effective planning. And John Kuykendall can help you put that plan together. If you would like to take advantage of that offer and that opportunity, if you've already got a plan and want to double check your foundation, or if you would like to really look at designing that plan, bringing all the pieces together, pick up the phone and give them a call, 386-755-9018. That is 386-755-9018. Or you can visit GulfCoastFinancial.net, GulfCoastFinancial.net, and get that financially focused written retirement income plan. As well as, John, I wanted to make sure that we mentioned that retiring is not for wimps. Quitting is for winners, but retirement is not for wimps. The book.
Yeah, the book. We wrote the book, Peter, and it's really a great book. And it's not, Peter. I used to think that when I got old, I wasn't going to pay taxes. I didn't have any medical costs. Everything was going to be great. I mean, I really didn't need that much. But what I found out, Peter, is, I need just as much now as I did when I was younger, before I got on Medicare, before I got on Social Security, because I'm not getting a break. My health care costs are the same now as they were. And we do have to plan. We have to plan for retirement. It's just like anything else. But yeah, quitting's for winter, but retirement's not for wimps. And that's for sure.
Well, John, I always appreciate having your perspective from the other side of a few things here on this program, that you've been there, you've done it personally before and are speaking from experience. But I know that at Gulf Coast Financial Services, you also have the resource of generations of planners under one roof, and the younger guys there to carry on the planning that you are doing and have done for so many of your clients there.
Well, that's right, Peter. When they come in and ask me how old I am, unfortunately, I have to tell them. But then I also tell them I got two younger guys that'll be here when I'm gone. So it's great to have a transition and know that the place is going to be in good shape. But, I just really I love doing this. I love talking about retirement planning and making sure that people don't make the mistakes that I've made, and that maybe I can impart a little bit of wisdom and help them through this process, because it is complicated.
Well, if you have not specifically engineered your plan, designed it to address and fill that income gap, identified the income gap, and then structured the plan to generate the income to fill it, pick up the phone, give a call. That's what that financially focused written retirement income plan can help you feel confident in having achieved. 386-755-9018, the number to call. That is 386-755-9018, or at GulfCoastFinancial.net, GulfCoastFinancial.net. John, always a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for the time, the perspective, the guidance that you share with those proactive savers and investors.
Thank you, Pete. Great being here. See you next week.
Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and tune in for more financial focus by visiting GulfCoastFinancial.net. The information presented on this program is provided for informational purposes only, without warranty of accuracy, completeness, or suitability for a particular purpose. This program is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. This information is general in nature and not specific enough to be construed as advice. You should not make any decision based on the information presented on this program without independent consultation with an appropriately licensed professional or competent advisor. Investment in securities or the market involves a potential risk for loss of principal. Trading, therefore, may not be suitable for all listeners. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Withdrawals of growth from annuities may be taxable as ordinary income in the year it is taken. Individuals should review contracts for specific details of the product's features and costs. Early withdrawals may subject the owner to penalties, fees, or taxes. John Kuykendall is registered with and securities are offered through Kovac Securities, Inc., member FINRA SIPC, found online at www.kovacsecurities.com. Advisory services are offered through Gulf Coast Financial Services, Inc., a registered investment advisor in Florida. Gulf Coast Financial Services, Inc. is not affiliated with Kovac Securities, Inc. or Kovac Advisors, Inc. Past performance is not indicative of future results. All investing involves risk. Investment decisions should be based on your own goals, time horizon, and tolerance for risk. Due to various factors, including changing market conditions and/or applicable laws, the content may no longer be reflective of current opinions or positions.